So how should we see the legacy of Mulayam Singh Yadav? Joining me now, Yogendra Yadav, President of Swaraj India, at the moment on the Bharat Jodo Yatra. I'll be joined by Atul Anjan, Secretary of the CPI, who knew Mulayam Singh also well, and Rahul Srivastav, National Affairs Editor, tracked him for more than 3 decades. Appreciate all of you joining us. Yogendra Yadav, how should we see Mulayam Singh Yadav? Was he to be seen as a politician who transformed the politics of the Hindi heartland?
Rajdeep, a very tall leader, not necessarily in his height, but certainly in his stature. Netaji, as Mulayam Singh Ji was called, is someone who's remembered so fondly. Not many political leaders are remembered and thought of so friendly, so fondly. Because to remember Mulayam Singh Yadav is to remember that era of our political life, where an ordinary person from a village, a pehelwan more by choice, more a pehelwan, and a school teacher could actually rise up. An era in our politics when people actually practiced politics on the ground, not merely on Twitter, not merely on Facebook. They were actually connected to the people. An era of our politics when leaders remembered every single worker by name and could connect to them, could relate to them. I've heard hundreds of stories from people about how they went after 20 years and Mulayam Singh Ji just recognized by name, "Us gaon se aaya hai, wo wala aadmi hai na." That kind of era of our politics. It also reminds us about that era of socialist politics, when socialism had some ideology left in it. An era where those from the backward caste and communities, those who were firmly kept out of power, got an entry, transformed social equations, and tried in their own ways to practice some kind of equality. I wouldn't say with great success, not so much in the economic policy, but at least in the social composition. And it is an era of our politics where someone could create a new party in a large state like Uttar Pradesh without hundreds and crores of rupees. So these are things I'd like to remember about Mulayam Singh Yadav ji, more than the positions he held, more than the chief ministerships he held and the prime ministership he missed. For me, these are more incidental because you have ministers and chief ministers, but the important thing is the values that people like him brought to politics in the early phase of their life.
In the early phase, I must emphasize, because the Mulayam Singh Yadav of the later phase was perhaps much more different, but you're absolutely right. I traveled with him on campaign rallies, and he knew the name of every panchayat leader that we would go on those rallies. That was the remarkable aspect of rooted leaders. Sharad Pawar in Maharashtra is another one. But Rahul Srivastav has a wonderful story which in a way aligns to what Yogendra Yadav said about how Mulayam Singh Yadav literally rose from the grassroots. Yes, Rahul.
See, Rajdeep, there are many leaders, but remember, he was from UP, Rajdeep. The Congress was ruling India and Congress was ruling UP. It was the times when the upper caste were ruling the roost and the backwards were backwards. The subalterns had virtually no political say. They were just supposed to vote for the upper caste. And UP was bigger, 425 seats in Assembly, 85 in Lok Sabha. At that time comes a man who constructs a party from ground up. I tell you a very beautiful incident that what Mulayam, all the poverty and the denials that a backward goes, the first graduate in 60 villages ever since independence.
60 villages in and around
of Yadavs. He was the first graduate. Didn't have no electricity, no road to the main road from his village, Sefai. Today it's a model village. Wish every chief minister had done it to his own village. The point is that he used to roll his clothes. He had only one set of white pajama kurta. Roll it in a polythene sheet, cross the rainwater drain, wash, and then go to college. He went to college, started teaching in the same college. And one day he went to the owner's house and the phone was ringing. That's the first time Mulayam saw a phone. So the owner was, since he was praying, he told Mulayam, phone uthao, answer the phone. Mulayam didn't know how to answer a phone. So he abused Mulayam. Mulayam told me this, that he abused me. So I picked up the phone, scared, because the other side the person kept shouting, hello, hello. So Mulayam says, I thought he was telling me, hello, hello, move. So I was a wrestler. I couldn't take a diktat from somebody to hillo or move. So I told him, "Tum hillo, main kyun hillu?" And he banged the phone down. That was Mulayam Singh Yadav. Yes, I later saw a Rado watch on his wrist. But yes, that was Mulayam Singh Yadav.
The Rado watch, of course, came in the Amar Singh era of Mulayam Singh Yadav, and that was the transformation, in a sense, of a Lohiite socialist Samajwadi Party leader, who, in a sense, in the latter half, became a very different leader. But Atul Anjan, he could have almost become the Prime Minister. The fact was the left parties, particularly Harkishan Singh Surjit, were keen on making him Prime Minister no less in 1997. But eventually that was stopped, some say because Lalu Prasad vetoed it, others blame VP Singh. Do you believe Mulayam Singh Yadav could have been Prime Minister?
Rajdeep, you know better at that point of time how the things were moving. You remember one meeting with us took place in Banga Bhavan.
Yes.
Where me, Jyoti Basu, Indrajit Gupta and Mulayam Singh Ji was there. At the early in the morning at 9 o'clock, that was deal to struck. But by that time, Harkishan Singh Surjit, comrade, has gone to Moscow. The deal was to almost finalize, but all of a sudden one call came and that changed the whole thing. Because the call was that if you make Mulayam Singh Yadav Prime Minister, we will withdraw the support. That was the Congress party. And since then, it was not, it could not be materialized. And then
you are telling me that the Congress
what
party,
happened,
you are telling me Congress party vetoed Mulayam Singh Yadav as Prime Minister in 1997.
Yes. There was also, Lalu was also there, but you know, the United Front government was supported by Congress outside. And because of that, in 1999, Mulayam Singh Yadav didn't support Indira Gandhi to become the Prime Minister. That was one of the reasons. But anyway, that is another part. But as a man, he was friend to all political leaders, even his adversaries. Darshan Singh Yadav was after his blood. And finally, he made Darshan Singh Yadav a Rajya Sabha member. I was very close to him, used to go whenever, quite often, I get to call that from Ajaiye Bhai, Saifai se namkeen or desi ghee ke laddu aaye hain. We used to take early in the morning breakfast, discussing international and national things. Many issues he used to discuss, and many used. And once he said, I am not now agreeing to support this question of Indo-US nuclear deal. I think that is necessary. We should support that one. That was a turning point where he had made good relation with the Congress. Otherwise, he was always against the Congress. But as a man, as some people say, he used to come. Whenever I used to sit with him hours together as a chief minister, as a party president, for after half an hour he will go out and meet the people, take their papers, then come back, give the orders. And that was his connection with the people.
Right.
That was his connection with the masses, and that way he used to work, and that has made him public. I remember
but he was also
Ramakola in Devariya. On the farmers there was a firing.
Right.
Whole night he travelled in an ambassador car, and next day morning he went there and we got arrested and he went to the jail. These are some things where he was a dharti put.
In a way you mentioned the firing. Many believe Mulayam Singh Yadav as an opposition leader was perhaps even more dynamic than he was in power. Questions of course arose over governance in particular. Since the mention was of firing, there will be those today who will see Mulayam Singh through the prism Yogendra Yadav of the firing on car sevaks in 1990. Do you believe that was a turning point in a way?
Before that he did a very big mistake. Before that, once he first time became the chief minister in UP, he did a very big mistake. He gave this Churk and Dala cement factory to the Dalmias, Vishnu Hari Dalmia, and he sent PSC to get the physically position in his favor, and when the workers were opposing, there was a firing. Some more than a dozen workers were killed. Our relation with the left parties went wrong with him, very wrong. But later on, it was 1990. Later on, our relation developed when 1996 or 95, when he thought without left we cannot move.
You know, Mulayam Singh Yadav sir changed a lot of changed a lot of allies over the years, a lot of mentors, but Yogendra Yadav, that defining image of Mulayam Singh also firing on car sevaks, did that change the politics of India in a way, gave the BJP the opportunity to play victim and then take forward the Ram Rath Yatra?
Rajdeep, the
That's true. That's
bottom
true.
line is that firing on your own people is clearly an indication of governance failure. Interestingly, Mulayam Singh Yadav came from the Lohiite tradition within socialists. And one of the most famous things about Ram Manohar Lohia is that in 1952, when his own party was in power in Kerala, Thanu Pillai was the chief minister, and there was firing. Ram Manohar Lohia was the general secretary of the party, national general secretary. He resigned. He criticized his own chief minister because they were firing. So clearly, coming from that tradition, Mulayam Singh Yadav could not, and no one can justify firing on the people. And yes, politically also it turned out to be a turning point. It did give him an enduring support of one community. But the promise of Socialist Party, which is to bring all downtrodden together, remained a promise that was not realized, not only because of the firing. The other major thing that happens is inability to keep a long-term alliance with the BSP. After all, if you are a socialist party, you cannot possibly have a relationship of confrontation with the most oppressed in the society, namely the Dalits. So Mulayam Singh should be credited with that great big leap when the SP and BSP came together in 1993. However, a big leader like him must also share the blame for that alliance not continuing, and for the OBC politics and the Dalit politics, whose union could have transformed not just Uttar Pradesh, this union could have transformed this country's politics. That did not happen. So big leaders must also take big blames. But having said all this, we must remember, I mean, our culture teaches us that we remember leaders for the best things they do, the best phase of their life, for their strength rather than their weaknesses and whatever happened to them later. And Amar Singh episode that Anjan Saab hinted at is of course that. But having said all this, we really are looking at a phase of Indian politics which we would read about only in textbooks.
Let me leave it there. You know, for many of us who covered Uttar Pradesh through those turbulent 1990s, Mulayam will be an enduring figure. And yes, that battle in a way between Mulayam Singh and Mayawati transformed the nature of politics of that era and perhaps gave an entry to the BJP to eventually take over the politics. Thank you all very much for sharing some of those memories here on the news today on the one and only Pahalwan, Mulayam Singh Yadav. Mulayam by name, but tough in his political acts.